Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mountaineers Candidate Forum. We've been doing these about going on 2 decades, I guess, and we're so proud to welcome you all. And this was being live streamed on Facebook, and it can also be found on the Haywood County Government Access Channel. So tell all your friends who didn't happen to make it today that they can still catch it on the rebound. Just a few little housekeeping things. November 7th is Election Day, and if you wait till then, you vote at your precincts. And then starting Thursday, October 19th, there will be early voting options available at the Haywood County Senior Resource Center in Waynesville. So 2 options to vote. We hope everybody becomes involved and does decide to make a decision on the future of their communities. So with that, we have the Canton municipal race that we're starting with. There are 2 open seats, and we have 3 candidates, and we're just going to turn it over to them to make their opening remarks, and we'll start with Alderman Ralph Hamlett.
I want to thank the Mountaineer for hosting this forum for Canton and our Haywood County sisters towns. This opportunity for us, the candidates, allows our citizens to make informed choices when early voting begins, as she said, on Thursday, and the general elections on November 7th. I am Ralph Hamlett, and I'm seeking re-election to be Canton's alderman. I ask for your vote, not only for myself, but for my colleague, Gail Mull, my friend and colleague for the past 10 years. Together, we have forged a friendship of trust, doing what is right for the citizens of Canton, our town. We do not always agree, but we talk. We share perspectives, and while we may not always agree, we are not disagreeable. When I first ran for this seat, I asked citizens what they wanted from me. Well, I listened, we listened, and we made progress. However, Canton was hit with a perfect storm. First, the COVID pandemic in 2020, Hurricane Fred and its devastation in 2021, now the closure of Evergreen. But from challenges comes opportunity. Our board, our mayor, our town staff and workers have met and are meeting the challenge. We have been good stewards of the public trust. We maintain a full staff, provide full services for our residents. We have answered the call to service. I know my record. I know Ms. Mull's. If we are re-elected, we will meet any challenge, and positive change will continue. We ask for your vote.
Thank you, Alderman Hamlett. Mr. Hatton.
Could be hard to follow that up. I've never done this before. This is something new for me. I'm looking to be a new voice for Canton. My name's Adam Hatton. I own Hatton's Towing. I've been in our community my whole life. I moved to Canton when I was 11. This town is a great town, and I'd love to see it keep growing. We've had a lot of challenge in the past couple years. We hit a big challenge this year. Nothing wrong with our town, nothing wrong with our board, but a new voice and a new chance. Someone that's willing to listen to the younger generation, and someone that's here to grow. Like I said, I'm new to this, so I don't have a lot to say. Our town's great. These 2 folks have done great for our town, so I'm not here to say I can be better than them. I'm younger. That's the only thing I have better than them. Adam Hatton's here to help, listen, and learn, just like everybody else does.
Thank you. Alderwoman Mull.
My name is Gail Mull, and I was born and raised in Canton. I'm the youngest of 9 children, and the mill, as you might know, I worked there 30 years. My father worked there, 2 brothers, a sister. My son was working there when they closed down, uncles, aunts. So this has been a fruitful year for not only the town, but also for our family. But as Ralph said, he and I have served on the board for 10 years. I retired from the mill in 2013 and ran that fall for election. And this is what you call a ringing your own bell, congratulating yourself, but we've had challenges, as every town has, but the mood of Canton is optimism, and that's what we hope to keep. When one door shuts, another door opens. We're down, but we're not dead, and that's what we try to impress on people. There's always a solution, always a solution. You cannot give up, and that's what we have outlasted, outdone. We are still Canton. It's not that we don't invite other people in. It's not that we're a closed circle. But the point is that Canton will survive. And we appreciate y'all coming. Ralph and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. For the first question, we're just going to kind of bounce back and forth, so everyone gets to start first. So Mr. Hatton, due to the closure of Evergreen, Canton's budget is estimated to have a $3 million hole, or about 1/4 of the budget gone. Do you anticipate service cutbacks, and if so, where?
Well, we know there's going to be service cutbacks. You can't lose that kind of money and not. Where it's going to be is going to be hard to say to start with. I look for it to hit in the places we don't need it, unfortunately. I really hope that we can keep it minimized and separate it between the whole area so it doesn't hit one area just the hardest. I would say our streets will probably be the ones that get hit the hardest, which is a very bad thing because our streets need a lot of activity.
Thank you. Alderwoman Mull.
Would you repeat the question?
Due to the closure of Evergreen, Canton's budget is estimated to have a $3 million hole, or about 1/4 of its budget. Do you anticipate service cutbacks, and if so, where?
Naturally, when you have a household budget, if you have a hole in it, something has to go. But the number one thing that we're looking for are the employees of Canton, the Canton town employees. We do not plan on cutting jobs. We do not plan on cutting salaries. That's our number one priority. And the town, of course, we will look. We got a $3 million grant boost from the state to compensate for that loss of money, which will not last forever. We know that. And we will just have to cut back, tighten our belts. But isn't that what mountain people do? We're used to that, aren't we? We're used to making do with less, and that's what we'll do, and we'll make the most of it.
Thank you. Alderman Hamlett.
The people of Canton have grit. They're fighters. We call ourselves a mill town. With the sense of intensity that we can do. Yeah, we are going to lose this tax base that we've had, $300 million. And we're going to have to tighten our belt. We did this our last year. But you know what? We gave our workers the 1% cost of living increase. We promised that. We're not going to raise taxes because we promised not to do so. And we have money coming in because the mayor, the board have looked for sources of revenue. And we have found it, and we are finding it. So I can't see cutbacks. I can see tightening the belt. But tightening the belt doesn't necessarily mean cuts.
Thank you. Alderwoman Mull, we'll start with you on this one. There's been a lot of talk about the town's moratorium on development in its industrial district, the Evergreen site. Do you support this, and why or why not?
Moratorium is a big word, and I'd like for everyone here to spell it. But the moratorium that we enacted, it's for a year, 365 days. We're not trying to keep industry out of Canton. We simply want a seat at the table. Evergreen is not a good player. They are not going to share with us what their intent is. We've known from day one they're playing their cards close to their vest, and the moratorium was giving Canton the ability to know what's going on. we feel like they should share that with us, and they will not do it willingly. And the moratorium was our way of finding out what they were doing. It's not supposed to be a top secret. They are part of the town, and they should share. But like children sometimes, they don't want to. So the moratorium, yes, I supported it, and I think it's a great thing for Canton.
Thank you. Alderman Hamlett.
The moratorium was not our way, it's the people's way. It was approved by the board after public hearings, and it was approved by unanimous vote on July 13th. No one spoke out against the moratorium during those public hearings. No one. We heard about people disagreeing afterwards. Now, we could do nothing to continue the process based on regulations that dated back to 1968. That's 55 years ago when the Canton Code of Ordinances was first adopted. But new industry in this area might not be compatible with the general business district and the residential neighborhoods and the safety of the citizens. And that's what the moratorium is all about. 365 days, giving us a chance to make sure that what happens in that area is right for our citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Hatton.
I disagreed with it to start with. There's things about it that is great, and there's things about it that is not great. Trying to strong-arm someone that has been a big player in our area for so many years has its pros and cons. I do understand where we're coming from for it. And at this point, I agree with some steps of it. We do need to know what's going on. I personally believe that we need the property to still be some sort of manufacturing. We need income in our town. And we don't need to be a housing for Asheville, which is where I see us going. And we keep growing for the houses, then what's here for income? We're going to have people traveling. There's many options to keep that mill property going in some way, some fashion, to support our families versus everybody having to travel for work.
Thank you. The third question, we'll start with Alderman Hamlett. Where do you see Canton 2 years from now?
2 years from now, we're going to be better off than we have been in the last 4 years. And I can say that because our fund balance is right now at 31%. We've received funding from Tropical Storm Fred, approximately $70 million in direct appropriations and funding. The state provided the town of Canton $38 million to build a new wastewater treatment facility. Now, that's not going to come online until the year 2030. And we're going to be responsible for treating wastewater after Evergreen ceases in 2 years. But we have monies available. And we're going to take steps to make sure that tomorrow is brighter than yesterday. And our tomorrow will be even better for Canton and her residents.
Thank you. Mr. Hatton.
Canton's always been a strong town. The whole time I've been in this town, we've always come way on from where we were when something hit, starting from '04 when the flood hit to everything else. The mill closure, I think, will make our town stronger because we are going to pull together. We always have, we always will. Like everybody says, we're a mill town, we're the mountain town. We're a community that is close. So in 2 years from now, I see us being where we need to be. We're going to have better parks for our kids. We're going to have better things here. I hope it's just not a bunch of houses.
Thank you. Alderwoman Mull.
Thank you. I have a long list of the accomplishments that have happened in the past 10 years, but I'm not going to bore you with them. But the thing about is in 2 years, when we look back over the past 2, 5, 10, we realize we can't predict the future. We can't tell what's going to happen. We can't predict floods, mill closures. We can't predict anything like that. But we hope we're up to the challenge. We have a plan. The town of Canton has a plan. What is it? Men plan and God laughs. So whatever the plan is, we'll adapt it. We're adaptable, we're flexible, and we know that we have survived many, many catastrophes. We have chaos, but we are hoping that in the future, our plan will sustain us and it will see us through.
Thank you. And Mr. Hatton, you get to start with the last question. What steps can town leaders take to mitigate flood damage in the community?
That's a hard one. I mean, there's a lot of steps we could take, I don't think you can have a better pre-planning, but having a little more heads up of what we're doing. Having things and plans that work between our local law enforcement, police department, our local police department and fire departments, even our surrounding departments close to us that we know. So we can be planning better for it. If we could plan what God was doing, we none of us would probably be here. So it's one of those that it's hard to say how to plan for it exactly, because you never know which way it's going to hit and which way it's going. But I think if we could just get a program together where everybody's working and certain things are going, I think it would help a lot.
Thank you. Alderwoman Mull.
Of course, Tropical Storm Fred, we have received so far something like $70 million in appropriations and grant funding from state, private funds, wherever we've applied for grants. But the thing about flood mitigation is another, that whoever expected Crusoe to flood, whoever expected the old Asheville Highway to be in the shape it's in. So the mitigation is going to be all over Canton. It's where you don't expect it. We can't plan for everything, but the mitigation, we have the money, we have people planning, we have engineers, and there are people out there who, I don't want to make fun of y'all, but they're smarter than all of us. And they will plan, but you cannot prevent a flood. But hopefully, Canton has a long history of floods, and we get smarter with everyone. And we hope and pray that that's what will happen.
Thank you. Alderman Hamlett.
She says that we all get smarter after a flood. Well, I didn't. I moved back into the same house, and on the second go-around, lost at that time. I served on a board, a mitigation board, to ask what can we do. And we looked at Clyde, perfect example of how you mitigate a flood. You're welcome. And we can learn from the steps Clyde took. We can go up Highway 215, Highway 19, and look for fields that could be used to serve as a reservoir to slow the water's pace. We can tear some homes down that are in the floodplain, such as my home or my house. My home is with my family. Because these houses, these structures serve as barriers, and may be a shame to lose them. But the next flood is coming, and we can't stick our head in the sand. We've got to make steps and plan so the next flood is lessened.
Thank you. We've now moved into our closing statement round. So we will start with Alderwoman Mull.
Vicki? If you look at the three of us, we're politicians and we can lie, cheat, steal, and promise you anything on earth, but you have to look at our record and see what we have done, not what we plan on doing and not what we promise. It's promises that we don't know the future. We hope for the best. What we do is put one foot in front of the other. We are flexible. We can compromise, and that's something you see very seldom with politicians today, is compromise. But the future of Canton rests with us, and I think it's in good hands because our past record has proven that we're up to the task, and we will not promise you what we cannot deliver. We are not going to promise you the moon when we don't know what's coming, but I hope that you will see what we have done and what we plan on doing.
Thank you. Alderman Hamlett.
Today, I once again ask for a sacred privilege to continue in service for another term. I close with a question. Is Canton on a positive path in the wake of COVID-19, the flood, and the closure of the mill? Look at our record and the progress that we are making. If your answer is yes, then re-elect Ralph Hamlett and Gail Mull as Canton Alderman during early voting on November 7th, or during early voting and then on November 7th. Thank you.
But not both, right, Ralph?
Not both.
Okay. Mr. Hatton.
I'm new to the play. There's nothing wrong with my town. There's nothing wrong with my board people. I have nothing to even argue with. A new voice would be great. Someone that wants to see our town grow in different ways than what we've been for the last couple years. If anyone knows me and knows my track record, they know that I'll argue on either side of the wall to make whatever is great, greater. I don't care if I'm right. I want somebody to argue with me that I'm wrong. If you're right, I'm going to argue with you that you're wrong. So we can make a bigger and better opportunity. That's all I'm asking for. I want your vote to help make Canton better. So vote Adam Hatton to help you.
Well, thank you, and thank you all three for putting your names up. It's brave to do that, and we thank you for giving us a choice come November 7th. And this concludes our Canton Municipal Forum candidate forum.